scary boy comes at night. Emma Richardson had moved into the old Victorian house on Maple Street 3 weeks ago, and she'd finally started to feel settled. The house had been a steal way below market value, and the realtor had been almost too eager to close the deal. Emma had assumed it was because of the outdated decor and the amount of work needed. But now, lying awake at 2:17 a.m., she was beginning to suspect there might be another reason. It started with the scratching. Every night around 2 a.m., Emma would hear it, a soft, persistent scratching sound coming from somewhere inside the walls. She convinced herself it was mice or squirrels, normal old house problems that could be solved with a call to an exterminator. But tonight, the scratching was different. It was rhythmic, almost deliberate, and it seemed to be moving through the walls, getting closer to her bedroom. Emma sat up in bed, her heart rate increasing. The scratching stopped at what she calculated was right behind her bedroom wall. Then came 3 distinct knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Emma's breath caught. Mice didn't knock. "Hello?" she called out, her voice embarrassingly shaky. The knocking came again, same rhythm, same location. 3 deliberate knocks from inside the wall. Emma grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it around her bedroom. Everything looked normal. The same boxes she hadn't unpacked, the same furniture in the same positions. But the temperature had dropped noticeably. She could see her breath misting in the beam of her phone's light. She forced herself out of bed and approached the wall where the knocking had come from. She pressed her ear against it, listening. For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Then she heard it, a child's voice, muffled but unmistakable, singing a nursery rhyme. "Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies." Emma jerked back from the wall, her phone nearly slipping from her trembling hand. She lived alone. There were no children in this house. No children anywhere near this house. Her nearest neighbors were a retired couple 3 houses down. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. The singing stopped. Then came a new sound that made Emma's blood turn to ice. The sound of small feet running. Not outside the house, not from another room, but inside the walls themselves. Running fast, getting closer, the patter of child-sized footsteps that shouldn't exist. The running stopped right at the corner of her room, where 2 walls met, and then, impossibly, a section of the wallpaper began to bulge outward, as if someone was pressing against it from the other side. Emma couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could only watch in horror as the bulge grew larger, taking on a shape, the outline of a small hand, fingers spread wide, pushing against the wallpaper from within the wall. "Let me out," a child's voice whispered, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Please let me out. I'm so cold in here. I've been in here so long." Emma found her voice. "Who are you? How did you get in there?" "My name is Timothy. I've been here since the fire, since Mother locked me in. Please, I just want to come out. I just want to play." The wallpaper began to tear what a hand was pushing, revealing darkness beyond. Not the wooden studs and insulation that should be behind wallpaper, but absolute darkness, like looking into a void. Emma ran. She bolted from her bedroom, down the stairs, not stopping until she was out the front door and standing on the lawn in her pajamas, gasping in the cold night air. She looked back at the house, at her second-floor bedroom window. A small face was pressed against the glass. A boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with pale skin and dark eyes. He wasn't looking at her. He was inside her bedroom, looking around as if seeing it for the first time. Then, slowly, his head turned toward the window, toward Emma. He smiled and waved. Emma's hand shook as she dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? There's someone in my house. A child. I don't know how he got in, but... Ma'am, are you safe? Are you away from the house? Yes, I'm outside. But there's a boy in my bedroom. I saw him in a window. I'm dispatching officers to your location now. Stay where you are. Don't go back inside. Emma stood on her lawn, hugging herself against the cold, watching her house. The boy was no longer visible in the window, but she could see lights turning on and off throughout the house, her lights being switched on and off by invisible hands. The police arrived in 7 minutes. 2 officers approached her while a third circled the house, checking for signs of forced entry. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Daniels. You reported an intruder." Emma explained what she'd seen, hearing how crazy it sounded even as she said it. The officers exchanged a glance that Emma recognized. They thought she was either lying or mentally unstable. "Let's check inside," Officer Daniels said. "Stay behind us." They entered the house, weapons drawn. Emma followed, her heart pounding. The officers cleared the first floor, then moved upstairs. Emma's bedroom door stood open. "Clear." One officer called out, "No one here." Emma stepped into her bedroom and froze. The wallpaper where she'd seen the hand pushing through was intact, undamaged. But on the wall, written in what looked like charcoal or soot, was a message. "Why won't you play with me?" Officer Daniels photographed it with his phone. "Did you write this?" "No. I told you there's something in this house. A boy. He said his name is Timothy, and that he's been here since a fire." Emma stopped talking when she saw Officer Daniels' face go pale. "What? What is it?" The officer looked at his partner, who had pulled out his phone and was searching for something. "How did you know about the fire?" "What fire? I don't know about any fire." Officer Daniels' partner showed Emma his phone screen. It was a news article from 1987. "Mother and son die in Maple Street house fire." Emma read the article with growing horror. 37 years ago, in this exact house, a woman named Margaret Winters had died in a fire that started in the basement. Her 8-year-old son, Timothy, had also died. The fire was ruled accidental, but there had been whispers, never proven, that Margaret had been suffering from severe mental illness and might have started the fire intentionally. The boy's body was never found, the officer said quietly. The fire was so intense in certain parts of the house that investigators assumed his remains were completely consumed. But some people thought the mother might have hidden his body before the fire started. Emma felt sick. Hidden it where? If you look at the house blueprints, there used to be a small storage space between the walls of the second floor. It was sealed up during renovations after the fire. The new owners, before you, they never opened it. Emma looked at the wall where she'd seen the hand pushing through. "He's in there. He's been in there for 37 years. The officers decided to call for additional support. Within an hour, Emma's house was full of people. More police, a fire inspector, and a contractor with tools to open the sealed space in the wall. Emma watched from her bedroom doorway as the contractor carefully removed a section of the wall. Behind it was indeed a narrow space, barely 2 feet wide, running the length of the bedroom. And curled up in that space, covered in decades of dust, was a small skeleton. Timothy Winters had been found. The investigation that followed revealed the horrible truth. Margaret Winters had indeed killed her son before the fire. She'd suffocated him and hidden his body in the wall space, then started the fire to cover up the crime. She died in the fire herself. Whether accidentally or intentionally, no one would ever know. But that wasn't the end of the story. Even after Timothy's remains were removed and given a proper burial, even after the wall was repaired and blessed by a priest at Emma's insistence, the phenomena continued. The scratching, the knocking, the nursery rhyme sung in a child's voice. Except now it felt different, less threatening, more sad. One night, 2 weeks after Timothy's burial, Emma woke to find the boy standing at the foot of her bed, not pressing against wallpaper, not a reflection in a window, but actually standing there as real as anything. He looked cleaner than he had before, his clothes less ragged, but his eyes were still sad. "Thank you," Timothy said quietly, "for letting me out, for finding me." Emma's fear had transformed into something else. Pity, compassion. "Are you still here? I thought you'd be able to move on once we found you." "I'm trying," Timothy said, "but it's hard. I was in there for so long. The darkness, the cold, the hunger. I'm scared to leave. What if there's more darkness?" Emma sat up slowly. "There isn't. I promise. There's light wherever you're supposed to go. Peace. No more being trapped. No more being cold or scared. Will you help me?" Timothy asked, "Will you tell me it's okay to go?" Emma felt tears on her face. "It's okay, Timothy. It's more than okay. You've been so brave for so long. You can rest now. You can let go." Timothy's form began to fade, becoming translucent. But as he disappeared, his expression changed. The sadness lifting, replaced by something that might have been relief, or maybe even joy. "Thank you," he whispered. And then he was gone. The house on Maple Street was quiet after that. No more scratching, no more knocking, no more nursery rhymes in the dead of night. Emma stayed there for another year before finally moving. Not because she was scared anymore, but because she'd grown tired explaining to visitors why there was a memorial plaque in her backyard marking the resting place of Timothy Winters, 1979 to 1987, who'd spent 37 years trapped in darkness before finally finding peace. The house has had 3 owners since Emma. None of them report anything unusual. The scary boy who came at night doesn't come anymore. He'd only been trying to be found, to be remembered, to be freed. Sometimes the scariest ghosts are just the saddest ones. And sometimes the only thing haunting a house is the echo of a terrible secret that needed to be brought to light. Emma still thinks about Timothy on certain nights. She wonders if he found what he was looking for beyond the darkness. She likes to think he did. She likes to think that somewhere that little boy is finally